another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Gerald Glassford, come right back at you here for Lakers Fast Break. Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. On the latest Pop Culture Cosmos, which I'm dropping by tomorrow morning for your Monday morning drive, Josh Peterson and I are covering the big success for Demon Slayer this weekend. I actually saw it too, and I share my thoughts on it. I know, because Joe was looking for me, and I'm like, I'm at Demon Slayer, man. It's 2.5 hours long. Sorry, bro. Well, with the commercials and the trailers before it, it's 3.5 hours, but that's beside the point. Yes, so I checked out Demon Slayer. It won big at the box office. Plus, we're talking about a lot of good things on the show, including the latest Nintendo Direct, Paramount possibly buying Warner Brothers, Borderlands 4, and we continue our list of the MCU right there for you on the Pop Culture Cosmos indeed. Inside Sports Fantasy Football. Hopefully we'll get back another episode this week. I touched on it live earlier last week, so hopefully your fantasy football teams paid off. I will probably win my Money League game again, despite Joe Burrow getting the owie, who will be out weeks. Yeah, that wasn't too good, but fortunately I have Patrick Mahomes as my backup, so there you go. So yeah, what's your thoughts on fantasy football? How are you doing? Please let us know, and we'll hopefully be back for another episode of Inside Sports Fantasy Football later this week as well. Do you want to go ahead and mention Joe Soro's here? Don't forget his channel, The Joe Soro Experiment. He'll be on after I am talking about the Dodgers, NFL football, and more. So go ahead and check out the Joe Soro Experiment. Please like and subscribe. Don't forget to like and subscribe to us. Like and subscribe to him. Follow us. All that good stuff on social media. Plus also as well our good friends, Empire Jeff TV, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, yo, and a big shout out to the Lakerholics who were on earlier today. And these guys were shouting. Well, there was a glitch. I was running the Pop Culture Cosmos on a different program, and I noticed that the guys were having trouble, so I had to help them while simultaneously being live on the air. So if you're listening to Cosmos, you hear me, a couple stutters or whatnot, that's what I'm doing, because I have two old men arguing in my head while I'm trying to do another show. They got livid, and when I joined the show after I was done with the Cosmos, they got even more livid at each other. In fact, if you want to see Laker Tom give Jamie Sweet the finger, we're telling him he was number one live on the air, go ahead and check out the latest Lakerholics right there for you, and stop by their site at Lakerholics.com. And I got a big announcement to talk to you guys about. I'm doing it again. NBA team previews are going to be available to you. I'm going to be rolling them out each and every day here for the next, let's say 2-3 weeks or so. And it starts off with Legend and the Atlanta Hawks, and that'll be dropping first for our members. My conversation with media members all around the country, in fact, in different countries as well. I've actually taped quite a few of them, and I have them ready to go, and I'm going to be releasing some each day. So go ahead and make sure you get it as far as become a member first, because you'll be seeing it first before you get to see it as a regular member, audience member. So better become a member for just $2.99 a month. I'm doing stuff for my members because the members getting first right here at the Lakers Fast Break podcast. So yes, Atlanta Hawks team preview. That starts tomorrow. Then Boston, Brooklyn, and going on from there. All right. So we get into it as we get closer and closer to training camp. The Eurobasket League just ended with Germany winning earlier today. Dennis Schroeder being the hero, scoring the last, I think, 7 or 8 points to get them the victory over Finland. No, it's over Finland. It was over. Greece won over Finland, but Germany did win today. I do know that. So, yes, great victory for Germany in the Eurobasket League today. Now everybody's starting to focus and turn their attention to training camp. But with the Lakers, it's kind of different because everybody knows we have a lot of players that are up for contracts this season. So they'll be playing for a new contract. And 2 of those are 3, actually, if you consider DeAndre Ayton in the starting lineup as well. 3 Lakers will get it. So DeAndre Ayton will save for another day, but Rui Hachimura and Austin Reaves are the guys, the man in the hour this time around. And in this hour, wanted to go ahead and discuss the possibilities of them. You keep them? How much do you keep them? Or do you let them walk? Do you trade them? All the possibilities. We're going to talk about that because I know that earlier today, Jamie Sweet and Laker Tom went at each other, tooth and nail, yelling, screaming, obscenities, the whole 9 yards about those two when it comes to whether or not you should trade them, what have you. I know that, of course, Laker Tom is a big proponent of trading, and Jamie Sweet wasn't. So go ahead and hear their conversation here after the show. But Joe Soro is here. Joe, let's talk and let's get into it, my friend. Great to have you here. Hopefully you've had a great weekend. I know that we've got stuff in the burner as far as planning, as far as our show coming up here in the not too distant future, a special one indeed. But I am bringing out those team previews starting later tonight for members. So your thoughts, Joe, on this as far as the 2 major free agents to be in this discussion with Rui Hachimura and Austin Reaves. Your thoughts on both? Let's start with Rui Hachimura. I know a lot of us focus on Austin, but let's not forget what Rui does, what Rui doesn't do, and what Rui provides this team. And is he worth retaining long term, or do you trade him before the trade deadline later this year?
If you can get someone better, yes, for both.
Okay.
But I don't see that happening for both. Maybe one if the right opportunity comes. Letting go of the players, that will depend on the process of the summer. Do they see something in the summer where they would benefit by letting those players go so that they can free up money to sign that player? But the 2026 class isn't filled with a lot of franchise type players. 2027 will, should guys like Nikola Jokic or Giannis Antetokounmpo decide to opt out of their deals. And then there's others as well involved. So either way, it keeps the Lakers in a flexible position. The most money that both can make are in LA. So that is to the advantage of the Lakers. And they're not in a hurry to sign anyone. So both parties will be able to get what they want in that case. And if one or the other decides to go another way, then the way I look at it is because LeBron James's contract will end at the end of the year with no extension option, the Lakers are going to go into this summer in a different thought process. They're going to be massively under the cap. Therefore, rules are in your favor when you're that low, when you're under the cap. So they'll be able to take all the advantages of being under the cap or not even being close under the cap, close to the cap. Actually, there's going to be a lot of money that they can spend, and that will afford them the right setup for what's next. But we have to see how this season goes. I can't say this guy's important, this guy's less important. They're not number 2 superstars. I wouldn't even say they're number 3 unless you had like a Shaq and a Kobe and then Austin was the 3rd best player on the team, maybe. But they would be really good number 4s. Both Rui and Austin are number 4s on a championship team.
I'll just say this, and I know Xbox says whoever would trade or send away Rui Hachimura is to be on brain melt. He's obviously a big proponent of Rui. Xbox, I'd love to have you. I sent you the link, Xbox, so I'd love to hear your side of the story. But I know it's probably Monday morning, and you're probably working hard already, my friend. So I get it. But I'd love to have you on the show to describe why you think Rui is so valuable in this equation. Obviously, a great shooter. Defensively, though, like Austin Reaves, Joe, we have seen the limitations. He is not quick enough to guard 3s, and he isn't always strong enough to guard 4s or 5s. I mean, he did that one spirited time where he was really guarding Jokic well for about a game and a half, and then Jokic and the Denver Nuggets figured them out. But it's really hard defensively to find a good spot for Rui because he's not a 3. He's more like a 4, but is he strong enough to be a 4? But he shoots more like a 3, but he's not athletic enough to be a 3. It's kind of like between a rock and a hard. It's a tweener situation, Joe. Is it not?
Yes.
Yay! A subscriber!
They're overvalued.
Yes.
It's not an insult. They are overvalued, and Laker fans overvalue their players. I am a Laker fan. I know my fan base. The Laker fan base overvalues players to the ridiculous levels because of the love for the Lakers. And the noise that you hear, the news that you hear outside, because people are so easily manipulated, is that we are supposed to believe that Austin Reaves, because maybe his agent is sending out feelers with the media. Gee, I've never heard that before. About how he's worth a certain amount of money. If you all don't remember, we heard this already about Austin Reaves when he signed his current contract. Oh, they better give him the money. Greg Popovich wants him. No one wanted Austin Reaves. And he got paid $14 million instead of 25. I'm not saying that's going to happen again, but if you pay Austin Reaves, and I'm going to repeat this over and over again, if you pay Austin Reaves the second highest salary on this team in the summer, and you finish the summer with that, unless you got some secret deal that you're going to go get somebody like Giannis, Jokic, whoever of that ilk during the 26-27 season, then you are putting yourself in a position where you are not going to win a championship. So where I'm getting at that is, in my view, Austin Reaves is a $20 million a year player for 4 years. If you really want to give him a 5th year because you have his bird rights, okay. He's pretty durable. He's good with chemistry. People love him on the team. Management loves him. He does work hard. He has squeezed every ounce of talent out of his mind, body, and soul. Got to give him a little bit of kudos there. But you cannot pay him more than $20 million a year, in my view. If it's a shorter contract, $25 million for 3 years, then that's a different story. But for 4 or 5 years, you cannot pay him more than 20. I'm sorry, he is not worth that money. Rui, pretty similar. Pretty similar. But if you're going to pay both those guys $20 million, $25 million a year, now what are you left with at that point? So what I believe is going to happen is, I believe the Lakers are going to keep one. And I think they're leaning towards Austin Reaves. And depending on the situation, they may trade Rui before the deadline for something of substance, depending on where they are in the standings. And if not, then they'll try to negotiate a contract that would work for them with Rui. And if it's not something that they like, then they'll just let him go.
So I'll ask you again. I know that I want to get to some of the comments because Best League says that Rui has no value. And I'm not sure that a 42% shooter in the league doesn't have value, Joe. That is a player that, again, probably best suited. I would agree with Best that probably best suited coming off the bench. But I think he has some value.
Who said he didn't have value?
Best League.
Who the hell is that?
He's a regular. He's regular.
Best League?
Yeah.
Best League. Oh.
Yes.
Oh, Best League. No, Best League. No. He has value. I'm sorry.
42%.
Bronny James doesn't have value.
Well, I'm just
hell,
saying
even Jackson Hayes has value. No. That's a horrible term to use for Rui. Rui is a solid NBA player and a player that will work on a championship team if he's a fourth option.
And he has been, to his credit, Joe, become more consistent. And that was his big deal, his big flaw. His consistency was just wild when he first came to the Lakers. That's why Washington let him go, because they didn't know what to expect one day to the next. But he has worked on that consistency. And again, a 40+% shooter in the past 2 seasons. It's clear that he's worked on that aspect of his game. And as a wide open shooter, getting 4 to 7 looks a game could become a real asset to any team, even with the defensive side. But you're right. I don't think you should utilize, whether or not you see him as a starter or the 6th or 7th man coming off the bench. I think he does have some value.
Yeah, I don't know where that comes from, Best League. Sorry, I'm not getting it. No, Bronny does not have defensive value at all. When? Where?
He hasn't proven it on the NBA.
Where has he proven
I'll
this?
say this. He hasn't proven it on an NBA level yet. And I think, Best, you would agree with that. He has not proved it on an NBA level yet. Let him prove it on an NBA level, not a G League level, an NBA level, and not a Summer League level, an NBA level. Let him prove it on that level first, and then we can have that conversation with Bronny, because I'm still not convinced yet. I have to see Bronny perform in actual, not garbage time, in actual competitive time, because every time, the limited number of times he was thrown out there last year, do you remember the Tyrese Maxey when he ate him up and spit him out for dinner scenario? And I understand that's Tyrese Maxey, but let's put him out there, second quarter, to start the second quarter. Let him put him out there a couple times against some off the bench guys in the NBA. Let's see how he plays itself out there as far as defensively first before you make an evaluation.
I'd rather not see it, because I already know.
Well, I know your idea. Yeah, if he's out there,
the
Lakers are dead.
Comparing value with someone like Rui Hachimura, who's a legitimate 6'7" ball player in the NBA that can actually shoot and can play some decent defense and has good chemistry with the team and is actually improving year in and year out. I don't even know how that even becomes a discussion of comparison. Both Austin Reaves and Rui Hachimura have proven that they have value, extremely good value, but not on a championship team as a 3 option, which is kind of what they've kind of gone back and forth.
We know you meant trade value. Best League. We know when it comes to Bronny versus Rui, we know you're meaning actual trade value, because I think not a lot of teams are asking for Bronny right now as far as any interest in trades.
Oh, maybe trade value. Yeah. He's right then at that point. Yeah. There's really no value for them. We've been saying this all summer. There's no value for them. You can't trade those guys for someone better unless there's a disgruntled player, and that's what has to go out. There is no value out there that's better so that you could trade those guys. And if you're going to trade Rui, there's no reason for the Lakers to trade Rui or Austin for less, right? This isn't a Cedric Ceballos situation. If Rui was a pain in the butt, Austin was a pain in the butt and ruining the locker room and the chemistry, yeah, okay, then they get rid of him for lesser, just to get him out of your, subtraction. It's an addition by subtraction, but that's not the case here. The setup is that the Lakers, if they have any chance of competing this year, they had to maintain the depth, preferably some continuity, which they have, and they have done both. But it's chance. You still have to risk. You're still risking with the players that you've retained for nothing, given up in DeAndre Ayton and Marcus Smart. You're hoping that these guys reinvigorate their ultimate talents. That's what you have. And then if you're going to improve the team during the year, you do use Rui and Austin as assets, but it likely has to be something forced. No one is going to go help the Lakers. If Rob at February 1 says, damn, we really need to get a power forward that can really do X, Y, and Z, we get, hey, Pritchard, hey, Presti, can you guys send us, can you broker something? Can you talk to somebody in Orlando? I don't know. So we can broker something here so we can get a better power forward for the stretch run. They're going to be like, what the hell are you talking about? For Rui Hachimura? No.
Best League says at least 10 small market teams in the NBA right now would pay 2 first-round picks for Bronny because they would have made $100 million for their team, basically, essentially on the back end, Joe, through merchandise, etc.
And where did you get those numbers, Best League? I'd like
Where
to
are these
see
teams?
those.
Because
No. Forget the teams. I want the stats.
If somebody's calling for to give a first-round pick for Bronny James right now, do it.
No. I want to know where those the stats were of the hundreds of millions to make.
The jersey sales. Remember we talked about the jersey sales.
I know what he's talking about. I want to know the stats. Where did he get those? How do you know it was 100 billion or million or whatever? I'd like to know. I'd like to see those sheets.
What's up, Legend? Again,
you can't just throw stuff in the air because you want to. I seriously doubt Bronny jerseys made hundreds of millions of dollars. I just don't. His dad did. Are you mixing James jerseys with the James Jr. jerseys, or are you putting them together? If you're putting them together, you're probably right, but that doesn't count. Who's they? I always hear they. You ever notice everybody's they? Who's they? Best League, you're starting to get to tonight. You started off middle league.
I'll just say this: when it comes to value,
starting to get the low league now. Come on, man.
If you were to try to retain both, I know what you and I would pay for it. Josh Giddey is an example, and I wanted to go ahead and bring that up because Jeremy at the Aussie, one of our great Aussies that listens to the show, wanted us to speak about him more, even though he doesn't play for the Lakers, but he did sign a 4-year, $25 million per year, $100 million contract. A lot of that was contentious negotiation as far as him being restricted free agent. I see him, or you could see him with some similar deficiencies as Austin is. You could say he's more of a regular season player right now because he's not been able to do as well when he has time to Oklahoma City because his defense is just at not the level that you want, but he is very talented, a good passer. He has an improving shot. Your thoughts? He got 25, but we have a player that does a lot of similar things in Austin Reaves. Where do you see him going? Because I really think, Joe, he's going to be asking for quite a bit more than what Giddey is asking right now.
I'm sure he will, but I'm not going to give it to him.
Okay.
So James set an NBA record for most rookie jersey sales, selling 500,000 jerseys at around 100 each. Hold on.
That's seeing that reported elsewhere. That's what I was looking up right now. By the way, Legend at 350 is in the chat. He and I, again, had a chat on the Atlanta Hawks, and I'll be rolling that out as far as coming out here in the next, probably by the end of the evening. It'll be coming first for members. So if you're a member at $2.99 a month, you'll be able to go ahead and check out all the NBA team previews that I'm doing, and you're going to be able to see them first ahead of everyone else. So if you want to go ahead and become a member, it's $2.99 a month, but it starts off with Legend and the Atlanta Hawks tomorrow right there for you.
So according to Google, he has sold 500,000 units at $100 a jersey. This came out in August
Uh-huh.
20th, about 3 weeks ago. So
This is
30
something I brought up before on the show. So I know that
Okay.
it is something that has been reported elsewhere as well. So and obviously any other related merchandise with the Bronny James name on it. I don't know how well his name is gonna stay as a good seller, a good strong seller, because this is for a guy that has not played substantial minutes in the league, Joe. So you and I think maybe first year novelty, whatnot. After that, we'll see what happens as far as sales concerned. Or does the James name live on as far as through Bronny?
No.
At least dollar wise, cash register wise. Okay.
Well, 100 millions is different than 50 million. I know 50 million is still a lot, but I don't. I'm a fan of winning. I don't care about what jersey sales the team makes.
Mhm. So to On Fire
And
Digital,
I can't figure out. Did you see a lot of Bronny James jerseys out there? I don't remember seeing a lot of those.
I saw quite a few at games at the Staples Center.
I don't have a memory of it. I'm sorry. Maybe I blocked it out.
Probably did block it out. Probably did. But yeah, according to On Fire Digital, it is reported that it about 50 million in jersey sales, give or take. I'm sure that's just a round number. But yeah. Or is it 5 million? So that's the thing. 5 or 50 million. It just
No, it was 500,000 at $100 a pop, which is 50 million.
okay.
And I don't know what the marketing costs and distribution and what do the Lakers make
He was
out of
not
that?
in the top 15 though in the NBA. To give you an idea, he was not listed the top 15 in jersey sales. So
I'm not. I don't. The fact that he has that many jerseys out there is enough of a surprise for me.
What's up, Search? All right.
50 million. Let's say 50 million. I'm gonna say they distribution, marketing. They probably made 20% out of that. So 10 million at the very least.
Whatever you pay to him.
Because these days I don't know what these people charge. It's
cut?
probably more. It's probably closer to 30 maybe. But
How much
30.
how much does Nike, for instance, make off the jersey? How much does the NBA make off the jersey? How much do they have to give to Bronny? How much do they have to give to the Lakers? Even Wish or whoever Bibigo, whoever
Yeah, the
is on the
distributors. Yeah, the guys that sell the jerseys. That's part of this percentage.
The retailer as well. You're right. So when it gets broken down to how much did he actually?
I think the team probably brings in 20% of that, and then what? I don't know if that's part of what they would pay the player. That's depending on the contracts, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's 3. Jon, it's gonna hurt too. Damn, 73-9.
That's funny. That's funny. But I'll just say this again. Yes, his jersey sales aside, we don't know the real value right now, if any. Doesn't seem to be any teams clamoring with first-round picks offering to the Lakers, because I would take it in a heartbeat if that's the case, because the fact that I will see residual returns on that initial investment when it comes to Bronny James being there on the team, especially when his dad leaves. It'll be interesting to see what the Lakers do when LeBron leaves this team, and if he's still there regardless. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays itself out. But again, Joe,
I don't care.
Right down to it,
I don't care. I don't think about Bronny James.
well, let's get it back to Austin Reaves then. Again, we talked about Josh Giddey, a player who has a lot of skills. He is playing on the Bulls, and the Bulls were playing a little bit of hardball with him, but they got a deal that they came to at $25 million a year. Would you be comfortable paying Austin Reaves in that range? Because I know he's going to be asking for more, but May, like you said the last time he
No.
went out in free agency, had
25
to
is
do
25 if it's a shorter deal, yeah, but not 5 years. No.
okay.
Austin Reeves is not a $125 million player. Sorry.
Okay.
He's not even a $100 million player in my book. 80 tops. 80 tops for 4 years is my number.
Uh-huh.
And if I'm the Lakers, that's what I present. $20 million a year for 4 years. If anybody else pays him more than that, you're an idiot. But if he gets it, God bless him. I hope he gets it.
And people, I know it was said earlier today, in the midst of all the yelling and screaming back and forth between Laker Tom and Jamie Sweet. And if you guys want to be entertained by it, go ahead. Don't get to hear a lot of those two old guys screaming at each other on the Lakerholic show earlier today. One of the things that was mentioned was, I guess, Laker Tom saying that with Austin, they're just going to go ahead and do it. They're going to go. He is, as far as what they plan to do with him, what he wants to do with him. Laker Tom just wants to trade. Laker Tom wants to make a move now to help this team now. So that's why he's really a proponent of the Wiggins deal. When it comes to Austin Reaves, what they want to pay for him, even he thinks it might be just a little high. Just a little high, Joe. Because like you said, committing to him over that period of time, 30 million, 35 million a year, which is what his team will be asking for. That seems to be kind of rough. And I don't think he'll be asking, like Laker Tom said earlier today, he thought that he would give the Lakers a hometown discount. He did that once before. I don't think he'll be doing that again.
I don't think he gave the Lakers a hometown discount. Is that
You
written?
don't think he was offered more from anyone else?
I don't
Not even 15,
think so.
17 million.
I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Why would he?
Uh-huh.
Why would he take a pay cut? Because he thought building something in LA? Is that what it is? Okay. So if that's the case, then he's owed one. But if Austin Reaves is your second highest paid player on this team at the end of next summer, you aren't going to win shit in 2027.
Okay.
It's that simple. I know we're on a talk show here and we need to explain more detail to entertain, but this is one of those things where there isn't a lot to detail.
So
the Lakers focus after this season, unless they win a championship, must be to find the next superstar for the Lakers to play with Luka Doncic. Austin Reaves and Rui Hachimura and Bronny James and Jackson Hayes and Gabe Vincent and anyone else left on this team is not a superstar. So I'm pretty accepting of the fact that guys like Marcus Smart, guys like DeAndre Ayton are not likely going to come back unless the Lakers decide to bring them back because they're part of a title team. That's it. This team is going to be skin and bones with Luka Doncic by the end of the year. If there's no star out there that's kind of on teetering back and forth on whether he wants to come to LA or not.
Jeremy says Giddey is a legit 6'8" point guard. Yes, the way he can pass, distribute the ball, I won't question that. And his shot is improving. Very good offensively. Defensively, it is a problem that no one has been able to solve yet. In Chicago, they don't need to worry about it because they just haven't been that good yet. But Oklahoma City traded him because he He is just an enigma out there in crunch time or in playoff time, being out there trying to find a spot for him defensively. But no one can question his offensive skills. Same thing goes with Austin. That same type of discussion. These players that have a lot of focus and a lot of success on one side of the ball, do you see a limit on as far as how much you will pay those type of guys? Because Austin and Giddey seem to have a similar type of ceiling at this point.
I don't care about comparisons to Giddey. Giddey and Austin Reaves in a lot of ways are not the same player. Giddey can be a scoring machine at any time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think his ceiling's much higher than Reaves. But I don't see the point in comparison. The Bulls signing Giddey to $25 million per is the Bulls having to sign somebody, because the NBA requires at least 90% of the cap to be fulfilled every year.
Well, they've already got that with some of this.
They got to give that money to somebody. Yeah, they got to give that money to somebody. So those who were always complaining about, oh, well, Kobe got $30 million his last 2 years each, they had to give that money to somebody. NBA players are required to have there's a threshold that you have to meet. And at the time, no one wanted to come to LA. I mean, what were you going to do? Sign Rob Sacre to $50 million a year? No, you're not. He got that money for services rendered, and all those jersey sales, and it's Kobe, and it's cachet, and all that stuff, right? People still came to watch Kobe. Right now, the Lakers, and it's going to be much clearer once the transfer is official. Once Mark Walter and the Guggenheims are officially the owners of the LA Lakers, hopefully in about 2 months, then you guys are going to start seeing a little bit of what you're probably going to need to see to understand what's next. I'm not thinking about Austin. I'm not thinking about Rui at the end of the year. I'm just not. I'm not even thinking about LeBron. All I'm thinking about is get through the season, see if you can win a championship. If you can't, now it's time to build the next title team. And if Rui and Austin want to be a part of it, cool. If not, that's cool too. Lakers will not lose anything by having open space in 2026 without Rui, without Austin, without LeBron. They're going to be in a better position that way, because now they can choose to build the team that they want. If Austin and Rui want to or collect the money that they're worth, then that's a whole different story. And I just told you what my feeling is on their worth. If Austin comes in at 4 years, 20 per, I do that deal. If Rui comes in with 20 mil per for 3 seasons, I would make that deal. Anything more than that, I'm not making that deal. I'm just not.
First off, Johnny says trade AR and Laravia, not Rui. He is affordable. Oh, Laravia is only $6 million, so that's pretty affordable too.
You just signed Laravia. What do you mean trade him?
Yeah, you can't trade him until December, January, I believe, on his. What was it? Best League said. I was looking for what Best League said, and I'll find it here in a second. 0% chance Lakers win the chip with Austin next to Luka. That's what he said earlier. Says they tank with Bronny as a starting point guard. He had another one. I'm trying to forget. Oh, Joe, it's the NBA, not Major League Baseball. It's different.
What's different?
I'm assuming the salary cap management and structure of it. That's what he's probably alluding to. My guess.
Okay, in what terms?
Search. Too funny, Search. I remember he who should not be named, but unfortunately gets named a lot. Graphics 235 says according to Net Bronny made. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. We reported that before a couple months back. Yes, his success outside of the court, yes, that can't be denied. He was not in the top 15, which is interesting, but those which tells you probably how much those other guys do in jersey sales. But obviously, that's still very strong graphics as far as 235. I don't think he made 50 million. He probably netted maybe 10% of that because that's probably what they sold in total jersey sales from is about 50 million. Because for him to earn 50 million off the jersey sales, they probably would have had to sold close to 500 million jersey sales. Yeah, I don't see $500 million in Bronny jerseys go out. So yeah, but I do see him being quite successful financially. I would say if you told me if he made more money in jersey sales than its actual pay as a Laker, his actual NBA contract, I would say you're right on that. But not to that extreme. But yeah, he did generate 50 million in sales as far as his jersey. I think I would say a 10% cut of that would be what you would think for that player. The subject of Bronny James never appeals to Joe Soro. I'm just going to let you guys know.
I don't care about Bronny James and his jersey sales.
Jeremy, I do not see him as a late bloomer unless he gets a jump shot. He cannot be a point guard. We saw with the 8 turnovers in a game in Summer League, he just is not. He cannot be a point guard and a distributor. Although he would be great if it were the theory would be great to have him as a guy that could be a combo guard for the team, but he just can't be. If he's has 8 turnovers in Summer League game, God forbid what he would do in an NBA game. He has to find a jump shot, and that's clear. If he doesn't find a jump shot, he will not stick in the league. Davion Mitchell's a great example. Davion Mitchell, great defender when he was drafted, and always noted as a great defender, but could not stick, as Johnny will tell you, with Sacramento because he just could not get consistent playing time because of certain limitations in his game, i.e. his jump shot. Went to Toronto, bounced around, finally found consistency in his offense when he got to Miami, and actually found he was actually a capable ball handler as well. So maybe Bronny will find that kind of similar arc, but at this point, I don't see it as of yet. Joe, you have that blank look on your face that says you really are tired of talking about Bronny James. I think the crowd likes to go ahead and keep on irritating you by bringing up constantly Bronny James. Here we go.
Bronny's an underdog, huh?
Bronny's a novelty, like Chuck Nevitt was. Come on. That was an underdog story, if you want to say that like that. But he was a novelty. Bronny
At least
James,
Chuck Nevitt was 7 feet tall, though.
Yeah.
There's a lot of 7-foot stiffs that make the NBA because they're 7 feet tall. If Bronny was Thanasis size, I'd be a little bit more open to his potential.
Well, don't get me started on Thanasis. But Bronny James,
this whole setup, this whole nonsense, we've gone over it before on the show, it's a lack of focus on the task. The task is to win. And if you're not going to do that, then someone should say something. Especially considering that they could have attained that player without having to sabotage one of two opportunities for you to acquire a talented player.
Mhm.
Because no one was going to draft Bronny James. No one was going to draft him at 55. At 55, at 56, at 57, all the way through 60. No one was going to draft him. You could have had him for free and still gotten possibly a player that could have helped you, but you didn't because you wanted the story. If the story is more important than winning, then you should be fired and not be in charge of anything in a competitive manner, in my view. You could have still had those jersey sales. You could have still had the story, but you wanted to add more spice to something. You turned it into a reality show.
Legend, I just can't wait for the Bryce talk. Oh boy, can't.
No. That's not going to happen because LeBron's going to be playing his last year in LA.
That's a good question, Jeremy. Who is the worst player in the NBA? That's a good question. I know Sochan, they're really trying to make something work with him, and nothing has worked with him in San Antonio. I know we have Vanderbilt here, who, again, I said on the air earlier today, I would love to have gone. It's a good question. I think Bronny is close to that as far as right now being one of the worst players in the NBA, but Dalton is sticking up the joint as well, so it's really hard to put both those guys right there, in that context, without saying one without the other right now. Dalton has to really start finding his groove back again as far as an offensive player. It's a good question. I would have to take a look hard at some of the 14th and 15th players on the roster, or two-way players on the rosters of these NBA teams, Jeremy, but I think he's close to it right now. We'll see. Again, he had some ups and had some downs. Bronny did in summer league, so we'll have to see how it goes. Does he improve? He actually did improve his shooting, but it's still not anywhere near NBA average level as far as from the outside, and that's going to get him as a 6'2" player. He has to be able to shoot better from the outside for what he can do for a team. Otherwise, teams are just not going to guard him. They're going to let him shoot all day. They're going to back off from him and let him have it, and they're not going to be scared of him driving the basketball at all. Maxi Kleber, good one, Richard. Yeah, on the Lakers, Maxi Kleber, he looked pretty bad in his one appearance, although he was coming off of the foot surgery, I believe it was. So we'll see if he is that bad. He's been terrible in Dallas the past couple seasons, so hopefully we can get a resurgence from him. But Jeremy says Sochan has some talent. I think Bronny is the worst. I'm not going to argue with too much on that one, but yeah, maybe there's a second rounder that's on one of these teams that might be the worst, but Maxi Kleber, and it's not close. Where did this conversation go wrong, Joe? But let's get back to the players that we're talking about at the head of the show, Rui Hachimura and Austin Reaves. So what kind of value do you put on them, as far as what kind of priority do you put as far as retaining them? You said keep one would be satisfactory to you if it were at the right price. What is that satisfactory price to you on keeping or retaining one or the other? Or do you even think or contemplate keeping both?
I did say the number.
What was it, about
4
20?
years, 4 years, 20 per for Austin, and 3 years, 20 per for.
So 20 is the magic number.
Mhm.
20 million. Okay. Okay.
If
I
the
have a
salary
feeling-
cap goes up 10%, which it looks like it will, okay, maybe 22. But step one, the official transfer of ownership to the Guggenheims and Mark Walter. Well, I am waiting for that, and then I'd like to see how Luka plays.
Yeah.
That's next. And if Luka is playing out of this world like he has been in the Eurobasket League tournament, I'm going to feel pretty good that he's going to help them win a lot of games this year. And then the expiring contract guys go up a notch because they're playing in their last season and they want to make sure they maximize their profitability.
Mhm.
Those are all in the favor of the LA Lakers. And if Rob can somehow turn the trash that's on the team still into at least one really good player that can add depth to it, that's a good thing too. That would be a good thing for a run where injuries have played a huge part in why teams have won the last few years, more so than even before. And I'd like to see if the Lakers can slither their way into it and somehow make a run.
Bloodhound said AR turned down 4 for 88. He's not taking 20 million a year. I would agree with you, Bloodhound. I don't think he is. Again, if I was his team, I'd start out high, and I'd start 35 to 40, and then work my way down. But you're right. Based on the 25 million that Giddey to me is very important in this equation because again, player with similar attributes on both sides of the ball. I really think that you have to assess that, okay, he signed for 4 for 100. Is eventually what Austin going to get is similar to that, or is he going to get something more because it's like one season later as far as the adjustment, as far as what players of his ilk are worth next summer as opposed to this summer. I know what I would be asking for him. I know what I would be thinking what I would pay for him. The 4 for 100, I guess I could. I'd say 3 with a team option would be mine for 100 as far as the max I would do for him. But again, you have to give it with the context of, is he going to remain your starting shooting guard going forward? It's just a weird fit. It's going to be okay during the season because, again, the Lakers are going to rely a lot on their offense during the season. But when you need someone to go ahead and guard at a high level defensively in the playoffs, Austin is just not that guy. And I don't know how much value you can give to someone that defensively in the playoffs, Joe, is just not that guy.
So rinse and repeat. It's the same story. Why would you pay?
Because you would think Reaves and Rui to us are best as 6th and 7th man.
Yeah.
To us.
Yeah. No, it's not to us. It's the game telling you that. Whether they will or not is dependent on the setup.
Uh-huh.
Rui and Austin would be perfect assets off the bench. They can start in the NBA, sure, but their best attribute is off the bench on a title team.
Now, personally, I would like to see them, if you don't have plans for them, if you think they're just going to ask for too much, I do agree with Best in the fact that I would like to see them moved by the trade deadline because at the trade deadline, I do think they will have value to teams that are not. There's going to be about 15 teams in the league that are not going to have aspirations for the playoffs or to do well in the playoffs. So they're going to look to cut costs any which way they can so that they can rebuild in the summer. And having expiring contracts, and that's what combined, I think, with both of them about 30, 31 million. That's not too bad, to move those contracts, plus also the others that have been constantly mentioned, like Kleber, Vincent, what have you. I know that we talked about during the day today, because Laker Tom is so adamant about a Wiggins trade, and you were very high on a Wiggins trade. I wasn't until you added in Norman Powell. Now and then I'm cool with it because if you can work out a deal and the money does work, if you make a 5 for 3 trade deal with Miami, then I would be more interested in that. If you brought over Norman Powell, Triple J, Jaime Jaquez Jr., and then Wiggins with that, so I would be more inclined to take that with the assets that you would be letting out. But then again, like I said, I just think letting them walk is concerning to me after we've seen other Lakers walk for nothing, and you just don't have always the ability to go ahead and bring someone in that's going to make up for that lost value.
Are you going to be able to get somebody better?
That's not always a guarantee.
Well, it's a lot easier when you know who's going to be running things, and the fact that you have Luka Doncic now, that's going to be the head of your franchise.
Mhm.
It's not. You're not worried about an aging AD now. There will be players that want to come to LA. So I'm not gonna, with the current NBA rules, I'm not gonna strap the Lakers' ability and their flexibility so that we can pay two guys that should be coming off the bench on a title team. That's it.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't look at these guys like most of the people out there. And if the market says that these guys are worth 50, 25, 30, 35 million dollars, then let the market say they are. I'm not buying it. I'm sorry, guys. I've watched these guys play for 2.5 years and what, 4 years now.
Uh-huh.
I'm not stupid. I know what I'm looking at. If they're to change that narrative, they're going to have to do it now. Do it this year. But then, even then, is it just a contract year player? That happens a lot in the NBA. Happens a lot in baseball, especially. Football, not so much, because careers are so short. They try to maximize every piece of their being as long as they can, because the average NFL player plays, what, 3 years, if that?
Uh-huh.
So I'm not going to be strong-armed by guys that are not stars. When the Lakers need a star, and they will get another star because they are the Lakers and they have Luka Doncic. So I am not worried at all about whether they lose him or not, or whether they trade
So
them.
you don't mind letting them walk?
You don't have to worry about them walking this coming year because you're going to be under the salary cap. This is not the same situation with D'Angelo Russell the last few years before, 2-3 years ago, when the Lakers had no choice but to sign it because you can't recoup that money. You still needed that money so that you can use it in trades and not lose out on that money. If they didn't sign him, they can't go. If they don't sign him for the amount that they signed him for, they can't sign someone else for that money. That's not how the system works. In this setup, if everybody leaves, they're under the cap. It doesn't matter. They can fill up the cap. They can go get somebody else of even value, or maybe even a little bit better. I don't know. We'll have to see how that develops in this next summer.
Okay. We'll have to see how it develops on how much you commit, or whether you do commit to Luka. Excuse me, whether you do commit to Austin or Rui. We'll have to wait and see. Again, I would like to see them at least move before the trade deadline so that they give you some value back. We'll see how that partakes itself, because I don't think a package of Kleber, Vincent, if you throw in Jared Vanderbilt, and number one, I just don't think that's going to get you a whole lot. But again, we will wait and see how that works out. Are you talking about what Finland forward player was so good? Are you talking about Slim Jesus or Lauri Markkinen? Yeah, just let me know best who you're talking about, because Slim Jesus, the 17-year-old kid, he looks like he's going to be a pretty good one. I was watching him some of the highlights as well, and of course Lowry was playing better. But Lowry again, he is probably going to be on the trade block by the trade deadline by Utah. Because we were looking at it earlier today, 47 million roughly for him on a per season basis. I think he's got 2 or 3 more seasons to go. I'm not sure I'd commit to that, Joe, with Lowry Market. I just don't see him as I see him as a number 3 player on a good team.
Are you talking about a trade?
Yeah, because I know that was mentioned also earlier today for the Lakerholics.
Did these guys read anything? Do they know how much that guy's making? Does anybody pay attention to what these guys are making? And do you all understand what the new CBA is? I'm asking.
Uh-huh.
So, are you really gonna go pay Lauri Markkanen $46 million to $53 million in the next 4 years? Who are you gonna trade for him? Are you gonna trade Rui and who? Is Utah gonna take Rui, Austin, Kleber, and Vincent? Because that's what it's gonna take to get him based off his salary. I don't know if anybody really reads stuff anymore. I mean, I think you guys all have you just think it's 1991 where the restrictions aren't there. The Lakers have to build their championship team with their second star in mind, then build around that. If you have somebody like Austin or Rui in the fold, fine. If DeAndre Ayton wants to play with the Lakers at the end of the year, fine. If Marcus Smart still has gas in the tank, wants to come back to play in LA, fine. But you cannot break the bank with these guys. They're not going to take you anywhere. You guys have been watching for a while. They are not capable of doing it. The same way LeBron James hasn't been able to. The same reason why I keep saying this should be his last season. People need to get out of the fantasy land NBA 2K world. This is 2025. This is going to be the 2026 season. You want to win a championship, you need to get younger and you need to get better players, both at the same time. Then role players play according to those players. And hopefully the coach knows how to put that together, which it already is suspect at this moment. When I heard that JJ Redick was thinking about putting Bronny James in the rotation, my ire grew larger. Because if you're at that position where you're going to be playing a player who does not belong in the NBA in a rotation that's already deficient, you are either being strong-armed by a friendship or you're that bad.
Okay.
You think Tyrese Maxey's going to be the only guy that's going to run that kid out of the gym? What happens when he starts playing against, when he gets healthy again, Jason Tatum's and the Jaylen Browns and the SGAs and the Donovan Mitchells and Darius Garlands? You think this kid's going to be able to do anything against those freaks? You have any idea how good those guys are? I don't think a lot of people really understand how freakishly good those guys are. And it's just, I don't understand. Just because you want something to be doesn't mean it's going to be. You all got to get your heads out of your asses. I don't have time for this. Is he going to be better in 4 or 5 years? Okay, fine. I'll buy that one. Maybe he'll develop into something useful in 4 to 5 years. I don't have time for 4 to 5 years. Lakers don't wait. At least they didn't used to. Now I guess maybe a little bit. So I'm not playing this game. I'm not going to be part of the crowd. I will not be coaxed into it. I will never be coaxed into anything of the status quo. I know what I'm watching. I have these discussions with my good friend Empire Jeff about this stuff. The difference between Empire Jeff and I is that Empire Jeff is an understanding person. He tries, or he just executes the ability to understand, to support, to be a good person, to pat on the back, to give everybody inspiration. I'm not like that. I don't operate like that. That's why I work alone 95% of the time. My brain doesn't work that way. My brain works like Nick Saban's brain. I'm not as good as Nick Saban as far as the coaching part. Not as famous as Nick Saban, but Nick Saban, you just need to go to YouTube and just type in Nick Saban and see his communication skill. I'm more of that ilk. I'm not about patting you on the back. I'm just not. I'm sorry. It's just not how my personality is. I will be happy. I will be supportive. I will eat lunch with you. You'll be my friend. We'll have a great time. But it's not, I don't have that golly gee type communication. I just don't possess that. Unfortunately, I just don't have it. So, and time wasting is something that is the biggest pet peeve in my life. My family knows this, my friends know it, and strangers once in a while find out. Don't waste my motherfucking time. Because I can't get time back. I can make more money. I can go get another car. I can get another job. I can't get that time back. And when you waste my time, then you start getting into that area where my voice starts to go up and my eyes start to stare a little bit harder.
Which I've gotten him to do on more than one occasion here. And I'll just leave it at that. But
I didn't learn that in the streets of Turlock, Johnny. I learned that in the streets of the real world, and the real world is everywhere. I don't hate everybody equally. I just hate nonsense equally. It's one of the beautiful things about what's happened in my life is because the credibility is there, I'm allotted the aggressive manner, the aggressive nature, because it comes down to execution. And execution is a dual meaning. Either you execute the people that don't belong there, or you execute the right people that are there. And there isn't a lot of time wasted. Like if I smell a rat, the rat gets killed. Not literally. I mean, if you're a bum and I don't like the cut of your jib, you're done. I don't waste time with that. And that's where a lot of people really screw up, because they sit in that hope. Maybe he was just stressed. That's why he didn't call. No, bitch, he don't like you. And he has no respect for you. Get your head out of your ass. You should have better intuition than that. Right? Yes. Now, dudes that I know, they don't really have those problems. Either they're not married or they're married to good people. So they make the best decisions for them more often than not. Because I'm not going to likely hang out with a pansy. I just don't do that. It's not in my wheelhouse. So there is a correlation to sports in the real world, like I've said 100 times. And if I had to give anybody advice on this season for all of you, focus on what's coming, and that is new leadership. Focus on the one guy that you know is going to be the difference maker and the man that's going to ship or captain the ship of this team for the next half decade to possibly a decade. Those are the things that I'm looking at, and I implore you to look at those things and let those things handle the next steps. Not LeBron James and clutch. Not what underwear Bronny James is wearing. Not what Austin Reaves wants. Who gives a shit what Austin Reaves wants? Not what Rui wants. Not what DeAndre Ayton wants. Not what Marcus Smart wants. No one gives a shit where it matters what those guys want. Luka wants something. That's a little different. That's the captain. He's going to be the skipper of the ship. So you got to cater to that a little bit. What does Luka want? I know if I'm the owner, I know if I'm the GM, I'll be like, all right, CEO, right, Gerald? That's what the main number one player of a sports team is. He's the CEO. CEO, well, what's your best? What as the chairman of like the owners and the executive? Well, we're the chairman of the board. CEO, what are you gonna do? What do you want? What can we provide? What can the stockholders put up with enough so that you can get what you need to make this viable? For me, I feel really good about the leadership that's coming, and I feel really good the fact that the Lakers have a prime star to take them to the next step. And I'm going to enjoy what's going on now as much as I can, but I'm keeping my eye on the next step because that's how this is set up. I didn't set it up like this. The Lakers did. So I'm going to pay attention to what they set up. I would have loved to have had LeBron when he was 29 right now. Sure. I would have loved to have gotten Luka without giving up AD, but that's not very realistic. So now it's time to go to the next step. Let's go. And I'm not going to sit here and talk about players that have no significance to that. It's just,
yeah, no, I hear you, Joe. I hear you. Just wanted to put in there for you, Xbox, the current values for Virtual Boy products right there for you. The latest on the Clippers Kawhi saga, as we talked about on one of our previous shows last week, the plot was thickening, Joe, with the Kawhi saga. And it was just funny to hear, again, earlier today, Laker Tom and Jamie Sweet yell at each other over this as well. The original stuff that Pablo Torre found out and posted on his original podcast was damning, but didn't have quite the lead-in that some people really needed to tie everything together. So he backed it up with even more reporting, with more substantial tie-in power on this. I really think if the Clippers get out of this with just a little slap on the wrist, and I know there's a certain monetary ceiling that they could be fined, which to you and I know both as well that Steve Ballmer could pay just something out there with this loose change in his wallet. That's not a problem. But the draft picks, but most importantly, the punishment of Kawhi Leonard himself, because this all goes back to Kawhi and Uncle Dennis as far as their demands outside of what he normally gets paid on a regular basis has led to this. And has led to this type of chicanery or the stuff that really looks shady. I know that Jeremy asked earlier, how does it look to you? It looks shady as all hell. It really looks, it smells. If it smells, it smells. And this really smells, Joe. It really sets a bad example. And if the league does not do something definitive about it to the Clippers, to Kawhi, to Uncle Dennis, to all these three, if they do not do something definitive to them, then really this sets a bad precedent and also tells the league that they're going to go ahead and they can do something similar. And for the Clippers, this is not their first time. Since Ballmer took over, they got into hot water, because remember they had also the deal where they had some side deals set up for who is the center that plays backup now in Denver, DeAndre Jordan. Yeah, they had a shady deal going on there. It was to a much smaller scale, but it was nonetheless proven out to be something really bad. And then of course, when he was a free agent, Uncle Dennis asking for his client, the sun and the moon, all these silver things that the Lakers, Toronto, and other teams said, no, we're not interested in. I really think it sets a bad example if the league just glosses this over when they finally come out with their decision on this.
Don't do anything.
Where'd you go, Joe? Where'd you go on me? I unmuted him, and there you go.
So who's going to be angry if nothing happens? Or
I think I would personally, for starters.
no one gives a shit.
It just says you can cheat to win. You can have side deals in place.
Yeah.
You could have companies that you're keeping afloat simply to go ahead. Well, it's not simply to ahead, but to go ahead and funnel money to, because that last report we talked about with the minority owner of the Clippers getting involved, sending roughly $2 million, and most of it going 9 days later to Kawhi, to a company that his daughter worked for while it was going under, to a company that was failing. It says it all.
I don't know how Adam Silver is going to react to scenarios that might be circumstantial, right? If he's a lawyer, he's going to look at it that way. Is there going to be definitive evidence that they said, hey, we need to do this so that we can bag Kawhi? That's what they would need. They would need something definite, something where someone really ratted everybody out and said, hey, look, I brokered this deal because Ballmer and management from the Clippers said we need to make sure Kawhi gets what he needs so that he can come to the Clippers, not go to the Lakers. Okay. That's kind of what I'm waiting on. What is the final straw here? Who is what? If it's just, oh, well, Kawhi didn't know, and then there's no line to Kawhi knowing. Okay. Is it Uncle Dennis? Is Uncle Dennis on tape saying, you do this and I'll make sure Kawhi comes to the Clippers?
But there's a paper trail, Joe, that's...
Okay. If there's a paper trail that says that, and if they're that dumb to put it on paper, then I think it ends badly.
So you don't see any shadiness at all in the $2 million that the minority owner of the Clippers, the guy who only owns 1%, sends to this business that in the contract that he signed when he was doing this, knows that it's a failing company and that it's in a lot of financial trouble, but sending this $2 million only to be turned around, and most of that being sent to Kawhi 9 days later, because Kawhi representatives had already mentioned to Aspiration that their payments were behind.
Is that enough evidence for them to say that that's because, was it attached to Steve Ballmer? Or is it just separate, just because it's just minority ownership of the Clippers doing that?
Well, Ballmer, because he initially put $50 million into the company. And remember, the original deal with Aspiration and the no-show deal was $48 million. Or no, it was $28 million. But also was found out by another reporting entity that $20 million in stock options were also granted as well. It just smells, Joe. It smells pretty bad.
Smells is not enough.
Okay.
It's going to have to be.
Even though it says in the contract, it says it could be circumstantial evidence.
I need more. I need more from this to somewhat figure out what damage it would do enough to where Adam Silver's like, we can't have this.
Okay.
And the NBA PA is going to be in on this. They would be pretty upset with a suspension for a year for Kawhi, wouldn't they? Because he wouldn't be getting that money.
Or a void of his contract.
If they feel that they want to set an example and they've got enough evidence to back it up, Adam Silver will make it happen. Adam Silver was able to remove an owner from his team. That's a pretty powerful ability. And I haven't had a chance to compare it with the Joe Smith setup. I know, completely different scenario. It's the same scenario.
That was specific. That was actually, they did find an actual smoking, truly smoking guy.
Yeah, I just, again, I don't, the reason why I'm flustered with this is I don't believe anything online anymore.
Even though he backed it up with paperwork.
No.
Upon paperwork.
I believe nothing. I believe nothing until I can believe that it's something. Because everything is a bullshit lie at this point. So if indeed it is true and it ends up being something where they're like, hey, this is what we have, and this is why I suspended Kawhi for a year without pay. This is why I fined Ballmer for X amount of millions, and the guy that has 1% now has to sell his stake in the team to get out of it. Then I'll know, yeah, that stuff was real, because now Adam Silver.
And they have employees from Aspiration who are willing to testify or say their stuff to the NBA.
Right. Yeah. And if that's the case, then from a lawyer's standpoint, I am not a lawyer. I am basing this off the fact that Adam Silver is a lawyer, and he learned from David Stern a lot on how this works. The fact that he has a history of removing an owner from his own team. If Adam Silver finds out all the legal things connect, he will have the ability to strike with its maximum penalty that he wants.
Because he can even do that based on what he's presented now, according to the NBA Constitution.
Yeah, and I don't know what it says in there. I don't. And I'm not seeing the aggressiveness in this like I normally see.
His words earlier this past week, I agree with you. He did not speak of it in a sense that made you feel that there was a sense of urgency there. But they did say that they were looking into it with an investigation.
Yeah, and I was anticipating that maybe they'd like to get this thing figured out before the season starts, but I don't know if that's possible.
Okay.
Anymore.
Again,
I thought there was more definite evidence, and maybe there is, but I thought this coming out, I was like, oh man, they look like they're dead in the water. But then you start seeing all this lawyer stuff coming in and out. Now they're using these excuses on one side, and then the other side saying, no, see, here's this is what happened. This is $2 million here, $48 million here was this and that, no show. I don't know. I don't know how to look at it. I don't know what's true. I don't know what's being reported really that's true yet. No, 805, I wouldn't trade Reaves for Zach LaVine. He makes too much money.
And he's got a declining athleticism. He's over 30 now. Guy that, but he does shoot well. I will give him credit for it. I know we spoke about that earlier, 805, but I don't think I would. I don't think I'd pull the trigger on doing a trade for him as well. You don't know, his athleticism is starting to decline, even though, again, he did have a really good season last season. I'm just worried about his health because he's never been able to maintain long-term health as well. Now that he's over 30, I don't know. Maybe if the Lakers find themselves in a position that they can really compete in the Western Conference, they can add him on without trading Austin. But yeah, that's something that would, his contract is kind of like a albatross right now because it's not exactly a pretty one. Would I take Reaves for Zubac any day of the week, JSJ? That's a silly question. Although you seem to mention Zubac lately more than I do, so I'm just saying. Just saying. I mean, I don't think anybody would turn down that deal. I mean, you've got a player that's under contract for several years now, just in the prime of his career, that could really anchor your defense and rebounding like Zubats can, and it did for one of the best defensive teams in the league last year for the Clippers. That's a no-brainer. Search and Destroy says Zach LaVine averages 100 points a game. Maybe on Sacramento he might. I'm sure he'll get his shots. That's a team that we talk about the Lakers being all offense and not a whole lot of defense. That's definitely going to be a team that doesn't have a lot of defense there.
Yeah, and to go back to the Ballmer thing and the Lake Clipper thing, I had one of my guys on Lakers Ball kind of pinpoint some of the details of the process so far. A significant part of the $50 million that Ballmer invested went to other urgent payments and not just Kawhi. So Kawhi received, I think, $3.5 million of his third payment from that money. He wasn't paid the other 3.5 until the last round of raising capital that had occurred some like 7 months later. I think it was in December. He was also never paid his last $7 million, so he was only paid 21. So the 48 million, I don't think happened. So Kawhi received 2 payments at $7 million, and then 50 million came in, and we received half of the third payment and half of the other third payment 7 months later. See, this is all lawyer stuff. This is where the details are going to be kind of, you make your head spin, right? Some believe that Ballmer didn't cheat. But also wasn't cut and dry. I think he made it look like 50 million came in, 48 million with the Kawhi, when in reality it went more like Kawhi got paid half his endorsement money. Ballmer invested in a company which needed cash flow and wants to invest 330 million into the Clippers stadium rights. Kawhi gets his third payment over a 7-month period, and then Ballmer invests another 10 million. Company goes bankrupt. Kawhi never gets his fourth payment or stock options, and then the company defrauded over 250 million in clients' money. So the most likely outcome is going to be an investigation that shows Ballmer got frauded and Kawhi had a weird endorsement deal that doesn't make any sense, but the Players Association will protect him from the brunt of it, and the league will be looking into it even more. So it's too many holes in this thing, and I think it would take a long time to get it figured out. Probably through Kawhi's last year's contract. I think if it's going to be this detailed and they don't have like legit information. I'm talking legit information as in I know they have the paper trail, but I don't know if they can get out of that based off of the verbiage that I just read and discussed.
Current Affairs said Westbrook, Sabonis, Levine, DeRozan, if they all stay on the Kings, are going to be defensive monsters. Kurt, you're at it again. Yeah, if he goes to EuroLeague, he'll probably piss everyone off there and get into too many fights. He'll probably flip off the crowd, and then he'll get kicked out of EuroLeague. Give it a season. I say Chinese basketball league for Westbrook. I think he would thrive there. That's where I'm saying he'll end up. But you guys have been great in the chat. Joe, I know you got a show coming up here in a few minutes at 11 p.m. on the Joe Sorrell Experiment. What you got cooking up, my friend?
Oh, we'll talk a little Dodgers. Dodgers ended their little soiree with the Giants. Giants were trying to make a late push. They're still in it to get the third wild card, but the Dodgers laid the wood on them the last 2 days, and it was nice to see. Steelers, seeing Aaron Rodgers having to deal with the monstrosity of that offensive line, the defensive line being trash, and then watching him when he did get time, not see anybody get open was very, very frustrating. And then, of course, watching the inadequacies in the ill-prepared Steelers team, like always with a Mike Tomlin coach team, continue.
I told you they can't keep him upright. I told you last week.
Well, it's they even when they do keep him upright, no one's getting open. And this is the part that pisses me off about people and their delusion. And no one comes with a return answer. Okay. I kept telling Steeler fans around me, DK Metcalf is not a number one receiver. Oh, you're nuts. I'm like, he's a number two. He's a number two receiver that's being paid as a one. So shut up. I keep having to explain these stupid things to people who don't watch shit or don't pay attention. It's about the results. It's not about me being right. And it doesn't matter if you give the Steelers Joe Burrow, you give them Patrick Mahomes, or you give them Josh Allen. As long as Mike Tomlin is the coach in Pittsburgh, you are never going to win shit. You want to count Super Bowl 43? Fine. Do you know when Super Bowl 43 was, Gerald?
Quite a spell ago.
It was February 1, 2009. This is before I think Bitcoin had existed. Okay? Then they went to the Super Bowl a couple of years later. And he kind of got out coached there, but I'm not going to say it was all his fault. It wasn't. Losing Marquise Pouncey in the AFC Championship game that year killed the Steelers in the Super Bowl because all the pressure came up from the inside, and there were a couple plays where Big Ben couldn't get a pass out. One of them ended up being intercepted in return for a touchdown. Anyways, point is, the Steelers are going to have to make a decision on whether they want to win Super Bowls or cater to a coach who, in my view, is the most overrated coach I've ever seen in any sport. And I've watched every single mother effing one of Mike Tomlin's coached games. I've never missed a Mike Tomlin coached game as a Pittsburgh Steeler head coach. So what are you going to tell me? And I don't really need to talk a lot on this one either. Look at the results the last decade. This man had Le'Veon Bell in his prime, arguably one of the greatest rushing and pass catching running backs of this century. You had Antonio Brown, who was I don't know if it's just my view. He was the best receiver in the NFL for 5 years at the least. The only guy I ever saw, and he might even be slightly better because he was faster. I've never seen anyone other than Jerry Rice be able to get out. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank here. To get out, I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry. In terms of route running, I've never seen anybody get out of his route quicker than Antonio Brown, other than Jerry Rice.
Johnny disagrees with you. He says Mike Tomlin isn't the worst coach. He's just average.
No, he's not average. He's average when he's good, which is not good. It's average. Mike Tomlin is bad. He is a D+ coach, C- D+ coach. When he's good, he's C+, B-. That's it. He is not. He has no idea what the hell he's doing. Absolutely no idea. Team is constantly ill-prepared. The team is constantly in terrible positions. It's just how many different offensive coordinators, how many different defensive coordinators can you get to before you start looking at the common denominator? You've had Aaron Rodgers for a couple games, and I've seen Aaron Rodgers play his entire career, and I've seen him look pretty damn good the last 2 games. You could see Aaron Rodgers still has it. And how long did he have Big Ben in his prime in terms of passing? Not Big Ben between 2004 and 2009. I'm talking about Ben turning into Dan Fouts from 2010 to 2016. The guy had back-to-back 6 touchdown passes, back-to-back games, 6 touchdown passes. I mean, Big Ben was on fire when he was throwing the ball, when he didn't have to rely on the defense as much. Nothing. All we got was 2 playoff wins from that. 3, actually. 3, sorry. So I don't really have a choice there, Jay. I don't. I'm just tired of bad coaching. It's exhausting. Ill prepared. It's not being prepared that this absolutely kills me. There's a difference. You can tell when a player sucks, a player that can't do what they need to do versus someone that's put them in a position that's been bad. The problem with Roberts is he keeps going to he's trying to build confidence to those who don't have any confidence. And while that's admirable, it's not when you're constantly getting the same result from it and you're destroying the confidence even worse. The Tanner Scott thing reminds me a lot of the Clayton Kershaw thing. Roberts made some major blunders over his career by putting Kershaw in bad positions because he wanted him to come through because he loved Kershaw. You can't do that. You have to put people in the right position. You have to make a decision on winning first before making yourself feel good. And that's just how I'm looking at it. That's how my brain works on it. And I don't. Oh yeah, Pete Carroll is 10 times better than Tomlin. Oh, that's not even a discussion in my book.
Yeah, Dirk, Browning, absolutely. When the waiver wire gets open, that's obviously someone I'm going to look at because he likes Chase, and I have Jamar Chase. That's what I did. I tied those 2 together when I drafted them. I picked Chase. I was granted the number 1 pick. I got Chase, who played like a number 1 today. But Burrow's getting hurt. Obviously, that changes things. I'm still going to win the game because I have the 2 Raiders receivers, Bowers and Myers, for the Raiders against the defense, the Chargers defense tomorrow. So I should win. Still my matchup for tomorrow for this week. But yeah, I definitely have to look in getting another quarterback. But I do have Mahomes as my backup, so that's not too bad a backup there. So he's someone that you can easily slide in there and still get you 19, 20 points right there in PPR leagues. Johnny says, Joe Soros, Snoop Dogg is a Steelers fan. Put him in as coach. At least you got to look from him, Johnny. All right, fair enough. Guys, great to chat with every one of you. Again, I want to make sure 805 Chargers over Raiders. Tomorrow? Oh, yeah, that's. They are playing at home here in Las Vegas. I'm going to say the Chargers look good, Joe. So I don't know. It's hard for me to lean away from the Chargers. I'm just hoping that the Raiders can go ahead and Geno Smith can throw for another 250, 300 yards. That's all I'm caring about.
I need to see more from. I got to see more than just one game in Brazil with the Chargers, but I had a really good day today. I won week 1 pretty convincingly, and then I've won today pretty convincingly. I had Jared Goff as my quarterback, and Bijan Robinson had a good game.
Good question though, 805. Because I've told you guys that when you go to the Raiders games, like if Joe went to the Raiders game that we were thinking about going together to, the Raiders in Pittsburgh, it would have been 70%. It was 70% Pittsburgh as far as for that home game. And often the home team has 40 to 60% of the tickets in the Allegiant Stadium, which you saw last night for the Canelo fight. But the Chargers, remember in Carson, it seemed like they had the same thing where the opposing team would be more of a home game for them. Remember the Chargers were even complaining about when they were in Carson about how it seemed like a home game for the other team. I don't know if that's transferred over to SoFi. So you guys would have to let me know about that because I haven't seen a Chargers home game at SoFi yet. I could say that there will travel, there will be contingent. I don't know how much of the space though with the Legion. That's actually a really good question because I'm not sure where to place it down because they don't have the following, Joe, that some other teams in the NFL do.
The Steelers traveling well isn't necessarily traveling well. The Steelers, after the steel mill shutdowns in the late 60s and early 70s, dispersed Steeler fans all over the country. And it coincided with the fact that the Steelers and TV, because TV, color TV, all got really big in the late 60s. And then NFL films became this iconic media really at the heart of that era going into the 70s. And what you saw was a fan base that was able to see and a country that was able to see the Pittsburgh Steelers dominate a decade. And it kind of followed through there. So that's why there's so many Steeler fans across the country. It's not them traveling to go watch the Steelers. It's that there's Steeler fans in every city, every major city, every town. There's likely a Steeler bar in every there's a Steeler bar in every major city.
Oh, there is.
Even many Steeler bars in even urban cities, urban and rural cities. So I wouldn't necessarily blame the Raiders on that. However, Las Vegas is a transient city. That's just what it is. It's what it was built on. It was supposed to be a holdover for GIs who were traveling between one spot to another. That was the point. They GIs who were sitting with a bunch of dudes in a boat or sitting in a barracks with a bunch of dudes. Well, when they're traveling and trying to get home or go across to the next whatever, that was Vegas. That's what they built it for in a lot of ways. And nothing's really changed. It's just that now the Raiders are in Vegas, which sounded good because it's Vegas, it's the Raiders, but the pageantry to me is empty inside. It's just an outer shell when it comes to the Raider mystique.
Yes, Kurt. I was going to type it in, but yes, Fremont Street. It's a little bit of this and that. I know people that work at Fremont Street or near Fremont Street that see it on a daily basis. It has its eccentricities right now. I'll just leave it at that, Kurt. But yeah, there's still some good parts of it. In fact, I'm actually going there next week. I got to meet someone at the Golden Nugget next week. So we'll see. No, we're not wearing Bronny gear. If you paid us what you pay Bronny, the Lakers for Bronny, we'll think about it. But that's the best I can do. Yes. Joe, I know you got to go do your show. I do want to mention, though, that I guess Johnny said, can you on the show, on the Joe Sorrell experiment, answer Johnny's question on how you became a Steelers fan? Because you went into it here before, but can you do that on your show tonight?
Yes.
Okay, so Johnny, hop over to the Joe Sorrell experiment here in 10 minutes. Wanted to go ahead and make mention that. We did not forget your question. Please like and subscribe. And again, guys, I would suggest becoming a member. I am doing NBA team previews for all 30 NBA teams with analysts, reporters, media personnel from all around the country, and even in Mexico that cover the team on a daily basis and report on the team and write about the team and report on the team in the media on a daily basis. I will be starting that with Legend for the Atlanta Hawks. That is going to go up tonight after midnight, but it's going to go to members first. And I haven't decided yet how long it will be a members first video, but it is going to be a members first video, Atlanta Hawks, and we'll start there. But yes, 29 other teams in alphabetical order by city. And I've already done 22 interviews already. So I've got a lot in the can I want to go ahead and show you guys. But members get first dibs, and you can become a member for just $2.99 a month right here at the Lakers Fast Break. So for Joe Soro, it's me, Gerald Glassford. Want to thank you again for watching this thing. We'll be back later this week with another episode of Lakers Fast Break. But Joe, any last thoughts before you head on out to your own show, which you like and subscribe? I'll try to get there at some point in time in the conversation. It might be a little bit later, but I have to put up some videos and do some work on the Cosmos. But I will try to get to your show, I promise, because you always take the time to stop by mine. But I'll be in the chat at least. How about that?
Well, I'll send you a link if you want to enjoy. If you want to join in,
Please.
it's up to you.
Yeah, I will try to jump on
Okay.
as soon as I'm finished with all the work I can.
No, I don't have anything to say. I'll continue discussions on the show.
Okay, 10 minutes. And you will find out again how he became a Steelers fan. And tomorrow, Kurt and everyone else out there, watch the Lakerholic show. You want to see Jamie Sweet and Laker Tom go at it tooth and nail. Laker Tom actually gave Jamie the finger and told him to F off. Or no, he said F you. I'm sorry. F you, Jamie.
Wait, who said, who gave the what finger?
Laker Tom gave Jamie Sweet the number one sign.
Why?
Right in the middle. One of their many disagreements over the course of that show. I will just leave it at that.
How old is Laker Tom?
Tom's 80. So an 80-year-old man with he's got a pacemaker. He's got with a defibrillator. He's got one of those things where it's a defibber. If he has a heart issue, it gives him built in. So those two went at it. I thought he was going to have a heart attack. And I'm trying to do a Cosmos, guys. But while you're watching it and I'm off the air, I'm actually in the studio trying to help run it because they had a glitch to start off that show. So I had to come in there and start the show for them. So I have to stay on stage right there on the side. So I'm not actually on the show for the first hour. But I'm trying to do a Cosmos at the same time, simultaneously on another channel. So that it's hilarious. Yes. These guys were at each other tooth and nail. One of their biggest arguments yet. And Kurt, you have to see where I mentioned you in there as well. So go ahead and check it out. It is the Lakerholics. But first, check out Joe Soro coming up here in 8 minutes on the Joe Soro Experiment. But we will be back later this week. Don't forget the NBA team previews starting tonight for members and coming to everybody else later this week right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.
Dan, 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 dan. Why are you guys laughing? The hell's so funny?